everyone. Welcome to this week's Karma Cards. I hope you're doing well in this period, this ongoing, very extended period of increasing energy. Now, I don't really have much about an energy report to give you this week, although coming up soon is the new moon in Aries, and it's happening right exactly on the spring equinox, which I think is like double significant because both signify new beginnings. Aries is the beginning of the zodiac. It's a new moon on a spring equinox, which is the new year for the earth itself. And so there's so much new energy coming in. And that's happening on the 21st of March. So if you want to join the new moon spirit circle on the 21st of March, I think it's going to be really powerful, and I'll have more to share with you. You can check it out at this link below, and I'll put it in the description as well. I have to be completely honest with you, I'm a little nervous doing this karma cards. And the reason why is because I want to be even more transparent with you. One of the messages I've been getting from the team the whole time that I've been sharing is that in third density, which is the density where we've been leaving and transitioning out of, it's known as the choice in the law of one. The third density is the choice. In fact, I have an entire series on my Modern Mystic Soul podcast that describes why it's called the choice. But to get right to the point, it's basically about choosing your polarity. And that's kind of the name of the game to graduate third density, is to make a polarity choice. And I want to be clear that there isn't considered a right choice. There are basically two major paths when it comes to polarity. There is the positive polarity, which is service to others, and the negative polarity, which is service to self. And in the law of one, it talks about the fact that both paths will lead back to God. It'll lead all the way back to source energy. So it kind of doesn't matter to source which road you take. One, the positive path is more of an express route, and the negative path is a longer scenic route, but the destinations are ultimately the same. So I've been sharing with you that it's really important to make a choice about how you're polarizing. But it's also just an important period, third density, about making choices in general. It's literally getting you to polarize is more powerful in its position than staying neutral. And the reason I feel nervous about talking about this is because I have come to that recognition that I have been trying to stay really neutral on this channel. I've been not trying to push the envelope into making it clear what direction I'm choosing. And I mean, I think it's obvious, well, I hope it's obvious that I'm choosing the positive polarity in terms of where my energy goes. But there are so many choices to polarize on, especially in this period of time, as we're in the window of Great Awakening. It's been going on for a while, but it's intensifying all the time. And I have wanted to stay a space where I don't focus on that so much. And to be honest, it's starting to feel really inauthentic to myself. And I feel if I'm being inauthentic to myself, then I'm not giving you the best version of me that I can. And so increasingly more and more on this channel, I'm going to be making it known where I stand in terms of what's going on in our society, in terms of how I feel about certain things. And I want to make it clear that these are my opinions, and I have no expectation of you to agree with me or not. Meaning, I am not going to try and convince you, but I do want to make it clear where I'm coming from, so that if it's authentic to you, if it resonates for you, that you feel called to it, and if it doesn't, then I'm not wasting your time, right? And also, I just want to be more in alignment with who I truly am and live that more on the surface. And I was thinking about why couldn't I do it before then? And really, I feel like because since the pandemics especially, we were all going through a lot of stress in that, whether you really believed the narrative or not. I never did. I was actually quite pissed off about it, and I'll get into that at some point. I'm going to tell you my story around that. But I really felt like what we needed was to stay connected in terms of humanity and not try to, I wasn't trying to polarize during that point in time. And I didn't feel that my own nervous system could handle being really polarizing during a super intense period of time. But during that period, I have done a lot of work on my own nervous system and balancing and grounding myself, and focusing on having my own back internally more. And now I'm being called to have my own back externally more, so that you can see that, so that I am standing in my own power. I am accepting my point of view, and I don't know if the word is proud of it, but that I am okay with where I stand. And I think one of the things that's actually helped me get to this point is that I've been getting a lot of hate kind of thrown at me, especially on Instagram, as I post about things like ascension and I post about dimensional energy. And I realize that even when I'm trying to be neutral or I'm trying to not be too polarizing, I'm still going to get hate. So what the hell? Why, why not just fully have my own back and stand in my power? And I hope that this little intro is making sense. I know it's a little different than what I usually do, but one of the things that I'd like to do is I'd like to do readings for you on global events that are happening. I'd like to actually read the cards and the energy for you and give you what I'm getting from my team. And I have been doing it incrementally here on Karma Cards. But I'm going to start a new video series on this YouTube channel, so you don't have to go anywhere else, where I will be specifically focusing on reading world events. And so I wanted to share that with you, one, in case you're interested, and two, just to let you know that this is going to be coming out more and more. One of the things I can tell you right now is I am not a woke person. I don't like it. That's my point of view on that. Again, this isn't a judgment of other people. And I want to be really clear about that, because there are a lot of people that I deeply love who are. They are woke. And it doesn't jive with me. Everything in my body says no to it. And so that's not the point of view I'm going to be coming from. But I also don't come from any extreme conservative point of view either. I would say that probably in this world, I'd be considered a moderate, but since the center has moved so much, I appear right-leaning, even though I'm quite a bit center. It's kind of like what Elon Musk talks about in his post, because he gets blamed for being alt-right, and he's not. It's just that center has moved so far left that people who are center appear to be more aggressively right. And so that's kind of the sphere I work in. I don't know that I would say my viewers don't see that. I don't know. Actually, I'd love to hear your point of view. Go ahead and drop it in the comments. Since I'm opening this up to you, please feel free to drop your comments and let me know if that's a surprise to you, or you are like, no, I could totally tell the whole time. Yeah, it's fine, because there's so much going on behind the scenes that I've been seeing for years that's informed the personal decisions in my life. And one example of that was, back in 2015 or 16, I decided to homeschool my kids. I just felt something that was really off and something was coming. Couldn't quite put my finger on it. But I felt like the school system was trying to set up my kids to be medicated. I know that sounds very conspiratorial, but check this out. I live in Washington State, and you know what I found out about my state? Is that the school system can, in fact, prescribe medication to children without the parents' knowledge or consent. And that does happen here. So years later, I found that out, and I was like, holy crap, I'm so glad that I made the choice that I did. And then, of course, everything else that's going on really got exposed, and now it's like it's clear why I was compelled so strongly to make a choice that I never thought that I would make. And so I get a lot of these internal heads up to take action that don't always make sense at the time I'm compelled to make it. And later it always works out that there was a reason why for that. So I think it could benefit from sharing those heads up with you, and letting you know what I'm getting on that. That doesn't mean you have to follow the advice that's going to come forward, but simply I would feel better to, if I had had a platform at that time and if I could have shared that story with people, it might have, had a few people seen it, they might have made a similar choice to me and they'd be in a different experience than they are now. I don't know. I just know that I'm being called to share from a more authentic place, from a more honest place for me. And that's the fact that I'm not neutral. I'm more polarized than I've been on this channel. And I was doing it for a lot of different reasons. And one of the reasons was I didn't want controversy. I didn't want negative feedback, and I didn't want to hurt anyone's feelings. I wanted to please people. And really, that's a habit that I have been working on trying to break. And so this is sort of my moment of putting myself out there more, having my own back, and letting go of toxic traits like people pleasing so that I can be in a stronger place of service to you. So I just wanted to share this message. And I also wanted to invite you to ask me any questions you have about world events, anything. And I would be happy to answer those questions in my new video series, Reading on Those World Events. I don't know what I'm going to call it yet. If you've got ideas, pop them in the comments. I'm very open to your feedback on this. I'm going to do it regardless of the feedback I get. If I get negative feedback, that's okay, but I'm still going to do it. But if you do have questions and you are interested in what I'm getting from my team, I'd love to share it with you. And so I thank you so much for being a part of my channel. And if this information is not resonant for you and you've got to unsubscribe, I thank you anyway. Thank you for being a part of my journey and for, giving me a reason to share my gift with other people. I really appreciate you. And if you're here for it, I can't wait. I can't wait to go deeper down some rabbit holes with you. Now, I don't know if you had an opportunity to see the summit I did last year. I did a summit called the New Earth Leadership Summit. And I actually had on some incredible speakers like Foster and Kimberly Gamble, who created the Thrive documentaries. It was a real highlight for me, as well as Aaron Abke, he is brilliant. He's got a YouTube channel. You should definitely check him out. And he's really going deep right now, going down the rabbit hole and talking about how systems work. I love Aaron, and big shout out to you. Thank you for doing that work. It's been fascinating to watch. So I highly encourage you to check out the Thrive documentaries. They're on YouTube, or at least the first one is, as well as Aaron Abke. And I'll put their names right here. And I'll see if I can find links to that information and put it in the comments, the description below, so you can check them out. But I've got a lot of information about how this is going, and my own awakening journey is one that I'm excited to dig in and share with you more. And if you've got an amazing awakening story, and you've literally started looking under the matrix, right? The false light matrix. I've been talking about it the whole time, right? I've been talking about the dark timeline and the ascension path and the two worlds split and the control matrix and the false light, all of that. I've been talking about it with you, and I'm excited to go deeper and talk to you about what Spirit is giving me in real time so I can help you navigate this time period, because believe me, it's getting spicy, and there's a lot of events that are going to start playing out. We're already in the window, and I think that it's feeling like this March is the March of all Marches right now, because there are so many events coming to the surface. We've got literally the Pentagon talking about probes from aliens and questioning if the mothership is coming soon. What? That's Project Bluebeam, most likely. We're going to talk about that in the world events. We've got the collapse of the banking system and the things that they're trying to do to get people to follow certain narratives. We'll talk about that. We've got this, impending World War III scenario trying to come to the surface and play out. We're going to talk about this in those upcoming videos I want to do with you. Things are not what they seem. And as long as you can remember that, I think you're going to ride through this period fairly well. If you take things at face value as they're presented, it's going to cause you a lot of stress. It's going to cause you to go into panic, and it's going to, it's just going to really wreak havoc on your nervous system. So the first thing I would say about it all is nothing is as it seems. But it is designed to get you to wake up and get you to empower yourself, to take your power back. That's part of the design of this period of time. And so whatever small way you can do that right now is going to be so healthy for your system. It's going to be so healthy for you on a whole to start taking your power back. And it includes small moments like this, like just being more authentically in yourself with people and really trusting people, right? We're so worried that something bad is going to happen. And especially, how people behave online isn't how they behave in life. And so it's like sometimes the worst of people's personalities come out here, and it can really deter you from living more authentically in your life. And what I would say is real people, genuine interaction is so much more pleasant and loving and less confrontational than it is online. So, I'm just hoping that this helps you find more permission to be your authentic self, whatever that is. So with that, let's do this week's karma cards. All right. If you're new to karma cards, let me quickly show you how these work. I've got 3 decks here: planets, signs of the zodiac, and the houses of astrology. And I've already asked my team, what's the message you have for us this week? And I've got 2 sets of answers. I almost said 3, but it's 2. We've got action-related answers and outcome-related answers. And the way that you play is you tune in with that beautiful intuition of yours and you feel what is most resonant for you this week. Do you need action-related guidance, or are you looking to see how things turn out over the next week? And of course, you can always choose both. And while you're choosing, let me tell you the timing for this reading. This reading is for March 15th through March 22nd. So right after the new moon and spring equinox. And the spiritual action is to inspire others with what you want to be known immediately. Woo! All right, I'm done. Thank you, everyone. Good night. No, I'm just, in case you don't understand why I'm celebrating that, it's just, I feel like that's just what I did. Inspire others with what you want to be known immediately. So again, be your authentic self. Say what you feel is on your heart, what you need to say. Stand deeper in your power. It's time to communicate that. Mental action at this time. Be prepared to sacrifice for what is believed about the way you project yourself. Okay, so even though we're going to be inspiring others, this authenticity, this standing in your authentic self, isn't going to be without a little bit of a cost, right? So the sacrifice, I can only really use myself as an example. So the sacrifice I'm making here by sharing with you and getting clearer and clearer about where I stand and what my position is or my point of view is that I'm sacrificing my channel, I'm sacrificing followers, I'm sacrificing maybe clients, I really don't know. But that is the price I'm going to pay for how I want to project myself. I really want to make a solid choice, and I really want it to be clear what the choice I've made is, whether it is popular or not. It is what's in alignment with me and where my energy is at. So now let's put it out to you. or being in your authentic self, no matter what that is, no matter where you're coming from, is going to feel like a sacrifice. And what you're sacrificing on the bare minimum level is just that sense of comfort. It's comfortable to blend in. It's comfortable to hide in the background. It's comfortable to not stand out. It's comfortable to be a wallflower. But like I said, this is a period of making choices, and choices hold power no matter which direction you go. So I'm not saying my choice is the most powerful. I'm saying any concrete choice where you're not waffling or hiding is powerful. And with that power does come a price. And like I said, the bare minimum price is your own sense of comfort. It can be really uncomfortable. It can be really scary even, and it can feel like a risk. But here's what I want you to know about risk. Whenever you can sense you're taking a risk, you can also sense that your heart is open, because that's what it feels like when our heart is open. We feel vulnerable, and that feels risky. And we can perceive it as sacrificing something, comfort or safety even in some cases. But it's not a powerful place to stay hidden. It's a powerful place to project yourself as you authentically are. Physical action at this time. Yielding is the only way to use the quickest way and do it your own way. So again, yielding is surrender. When we're trying to hide or cover up what we are, or downplay it, or people please especially, are we surrendering? Or are we trying to control perception or action or response? Are we trying to control that? I would say yes. Yes, people pleasing very much is a control response. It's very much about trying to prevent what you're afraid of happening, whether it's rejection, whether it's being made fun of, whatever it is. People pleasing is very much about trying to control the reactions of others. Where they're saying is yield, surrender to who you are, surrender to your values, surrender to what you feel authentically is true in your life. And by doing so, there are other gifts that come with that. But the focus right here is that willingness to surrender to your inner truth. It is always scary how accurate these cards can be, because I don't read these before I talk to you. I always pull them, put them aside. I don't look because I don't want to cheat. And then I talk to you, and then the cards like basically speak back to me what I've been speaking. I don't know why it still surprises me, but it does. So let's keep going. Okay. For those choosing outcome, your spiritual outcome at this time is the idealization of information to explain who you are. So this one's an interesting one. Neptune offers a little bit of fogginess in thinking. It doesn't give us the clearest picture. It gives us the most spiritual picture. It gives us the ideal version, but it's not always clear. And so when it talks about idealization, this means what you believe to be or perceive to be the best version of information to explain who you are. So what I'm saying is that we might not be nailing the head on pure authenticity at this point, but we're getting close, and we're moving towards a spiritual belief system. And that makes sense. That makes sense because Saturn has moved into Pisces, which is all about the lessons of spirituality. So Neptune is currently in Pisces as well. We're going to get a lot of Neptunian influence in the lessons of spirituality, which means it's going to be hard to enunciate what's really going on. I think that's okay. I think we just need to accept that right now. You're going to get there, and some things cannot be, sometimes you can't articulate the actual experience, but you can articulate the theory or the belief around it, if that makes sense. Mental outcome at this time. Confusion regarding communication about your desires. Right, and this might be internally, like for example, it's easy to line up to the fact that I want to be authentic, but when I do go to communicate that, there is sort of a like, well, what am I going to say? What do I even need to say right now? So I wasn't able to plan out what I wanted to say to you. Everything that was said in the moment. I don't even remember fully in this moment what was said. And again, it's okay. It's not, even though we're being called to step into this direction and we are being called there is sort of an unfamiliarity and again, something nebulous you can't quite grasp. When Neptune is involved, as it is this week, there is a very ephemeral energy that comes with it, and it can be really hard to kind of nail down or make succinct. You might end up talking in circles around things. You might end up going off on tangents. That's very much Neptune. And we've got Neptune in Gemini, which is the communicator. So it's like we're trying to communicate an idea. It's like trying to communicate someone what a cloud tastes like. How do you do it? Right? You can only kind of give your impression of what you think that is without being able to actually articulate it. I hope I'm making sense with that. I think it's a good example of what's going on. And this is about your desires. So what do you want? So it's going to be tricky. You're going to want to express your desires. It's going to be tricky to sort of make it crystal clear for people what that is. Physical outcome at this time: sacrifice resulting from the fluctuation of your actions. Okay, so again, sacrifice comes in whenever we are pursuing something that has more of a spiritual nature. There's always this energetic trade that happens. In order to proceed further, you have to let go of something, right? So in order to receive your courage, you have to let go of your fear. In order to receive more abundance, you have to let go of the lack, right? You have to start seeing it. And that's really what it's saying, is that there's an exchange that has to happen. And the fluctuation in your actions means you might do what's called the pilgrim's walk, right? That's 2 steps forward, 1 step back. So you might step more into your authenticity, get a reaction, backtrack a little, and then pick yourself up and continue forward and back. You might get feedback, or you might experience that confronting of, I have to let this go if I'm going to move forward. I have to let go of my fear of making someone angry, for example, in order to move forward. So again, this is a period where there's not a lot of like straight lines, and it's not a hard conclusion. It's very Neptunian in its cloud-like, ephemeral, non-solidified. Nothing's going to quite settle this week. So you're being asked to take the action. You're being asked to step forward in your more spiritual, authentic self as you continue to move forward. Making choices, even polarizing, is a really powerful thing to do. But the feedback you might get from it won't be consistent, or it won't make sense, or people might come to you and be like, I don't understand. What are you trying to say? And you might have a hard time articulating it. But remember, this is just through the 22nd. By the time we hit that period, whatever actions we've taken over this week will lead us into another area, another terrain to look at. So we got a lot of room and a lot of time to see how this goes out. Just remember that in order to gain something, in order to move forward on your spiritual journey, something has to be let go of. And that's not always a negative. I know sometimes when I hear the word sacrifice, I'm like, no, I don't want to let anything go. But it's not always something that's bad to let it go, to be willing to let go of the comfort, be willing to let go, be willing to disappoint people, be willing to be made fun of even. As long as you feel that you're getting closer to yourself, which is one of the main purposes of this period, is to become more at one with your true essence and your true nature. And as you do so, that's a pretty big payoff. And you're going to feel that as you move forward. I feel a little lighter actually after having this conversation with you. I hope it was productive. And I hope you stay with me on this journey. And I really look forward to sharing more with you as we move further into 2023. And I'm sending you so much love. Mwah.